If you're in academia, you know the feeling. That email shows up in your inbox, your heart starts to pound a little, and you just brace yourself for what your peers have to say. Well, today we are tackling one of the most dreaded figures in that whole process, the infamous reviewer 2.
Oof, yeah. Just hearing that kind of stings, doesn't it? It feels less like constructive feedback and way more like a personal attack. And this isn't some hypothetical nightmare. Nope, this is a real comment that landed in a real researcher's inbox.
And that researcher? His name is Dr. Marcus Lee. He just stared at his screen, his face burning. I mean, think about it. Months of fieldwork, all those late nights analyzing data, carefully crafting every single word, all of it just dismissed in a few cruel lines. It's a story that probably feels way too familiar to a lot of you.
So let's break down what happened here. In that moment, Marcus came face to face with what we all call the reviewer 2 archetype. That one reviewer who's always hypercritical, sometimes just downright rude, and who seems to haunt every single submission process. You know, his immediate reaction wasn't just disappointment. It was a full-blown crisis of confidence. He literally slammed his laptop shut and just went for a long walk, questioning absolutely everything. And that gut punch of self-doubt, that is the classic signature of a harsh peer review. And let's be really clear, Marcus's reaction is not a sign of weakness, not at all. It's a deeply human response because this stuff isn't just about data, right? Your research is tied to identity, your passion, and the very real stakes of your career. And that's exactly why this kind of feedback can feel so devastating.
And let's not forget the context we're all working in. At the top academic journals, the rejection rate is a staggering 70 to 90%. I mean, with odds like that, the pressure is already immense. Every submission already feels like a total long shot, which makes that harsh criticism feel less like helpful feedback and more like a final, crushing verdict. And that pressure has a very, very real impact on people. It can lead to feelings of shame and this intense frustration. It fuels that voice in your head, the imposter syndrome, making you doubt if you even belong. And it can completely stall your momentum right when you need it most in your career. But here's the thing. This is where the story turns. A brutal review, it doesn't have to be the end of the line. It can actually be an opportunity. See, Marcus didn't give up. Instead, he fought back with a clear, strategic playbook that, honestly, we can all learn from. So, here it is, the playbook he used. 4 simple but absolutely crucial steps. First, and this is the most important one, never, ever respond when you're emotional. Wait at least 48 hours, step away. Then you get methodical. You categorize the feedback, you create a structured response table, and finally, you get a trusted colleague to check your tone before you even think about hitting send. Now, this is the heart of the whole strategy, the response table. It is the gold standard for a reason. It forces you to be professional, to be precise, you thank the reviewer, you address their point directly, and then you state exactly what action you took. It just removes all the emotion from the equation and shows you were completely thorough. This whole strategy is all about transforming your response. I mean, just look at the difference here. On the left, that's the raw emotional reaction, the chaos and frustration we all feel, right? But on the right, that's the result of the playbook, a calm, professional rebuttal that actually builds a bridge to a solution. One of these escalates the conflict, the other one gets your paper accepted. But, dealing with reviewer 2 isn't just about crafting a single rebuttal. It's really about developing a resilient mindset that can carry you through a long and successful career in what can be a really challenging field. So, what was the result for Dr. Lee? Well, after he submitted his careful, professional rebuttal, the paper was accepted. But here's the kicker, the best part. The revised manuscript, the one strengthened by the very criticism that almost broke him, it became his most cited piece of work ever. So when you boil it all down, we get to choose how we see this whole peer review process. Is it just a series of personal attacks that we have to survive? Or is it a rigorous and, sometimes difficult conversation that's really aimed at making the science better? Reframing it that way, well, it changes everything. The ultimate takeaway here really comes from Dr. Lee, who now shares the story with his own students. Don't get mad, get better. Channel that frustration into improving your work, because a stronger paper is the most powerful response you can possibly give. So I'm going to leave you with this. The next time that dreaded email lands in your inbox, just take a deep breath, remember this playbook, and ask yourself this question.
because that criticism, it might just be the fire you need to forge your strongest work yet.